Welcome to the new professional StarCraft 2, with a new hotfix balance patch, with possibly the most insane change I've ever seen to the game, outside of an expansion pack, or maybe including them. But either way, to test it out, the rank 1 Terran in the world in the red, we have Team Liquid's Clem, facing off against the rank 1 Protoss, of course, its hero, in a best of 5 Terran versus Protoss Showmatch that Wardy organized just hours after the hotfix went live. And before we get started and we go over some of the more finer points of the notes, it'd be awesome if you could smash that like button or maybe even subscribe. Tell me kind of the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? Yes, it's real. 1,878 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Especially than Hero's first probe, which he sent across, but was locked in by, yes, your eyes do not deceive you. That is a command center and alongside of the barracks. I'd be like, wow, a command center first in Terran versus Protoss. That's a pretty sizable risk. Or is it? As we're making changes based on player data and feedback, we're calibrating both Protoss and Terran to help deal with Zerg. Calibrating. Unfortunately, we don't have any Zerg here, but Terran versus Protoss is still a matchup that is very common. The Colossus has more base damage, making it better against non-light units, the same against light. Adepts get more damage from upgrades. Gateways now build 50% faster after Warp Gate is done. Zealots build faster than Marines or Zerglings. Disruptor Phantom weapon range. That's not the Disruptor range, it's just the fake attack range to keep it at bay. Ignore those, because the command center has been reduced from 400 to 300 minerals. And the Ghost is back to 2 supply. The Planetary Fortress cost increased to balance it out. The Orbital Command is exactly the same as it was. We didn't try 350. About 350. We didn't try 25 minerals less. The command center is reduced from 400 to 300 minerals. Well, that certainly is a recalibration. For reference, a worker mines between 50 and 60 minerals a minute. You start with 8 workers nowadays, which we seem to be committed to. We have reduced the cost of the command center by, how would you measure it? 25%, 33%? To the point where Clem goes command center first, but still has a bunker up, Marine in it. That just simply could not have happened. Literally a day ago. So, let me not bury the lead here. This is the most ridiculous and obviously... If you think the larva buff was bad, let me let you in on a secret. You still had to pay for drones and queens, and in fact the hatchery is more expensive. This is just a straight up 100 minerals minimum of every single build that isn't a 1-base solid. So, my initial reaction, I've kind of stopped doing patch videos because yelling patch notes at people who don't play the game, sorry, at people who enjoy the game from a distance just isn't that compelling. And by the time many people realize what's going on, something else will be. All these patch notes are in addition / adjusting whatever else was changed over the last couple patches. Unfortunately, the intern didn't provide us with like a change log or something. We just slapped those on. But, so, my reaction, my initial reaction and the words I would use would get me demonetized, I think. So I won't say those things. I'll just let you leave it to your imagination. But I will say this is certainly a creative change, a unique change, and one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in the history of the game. It's just not... It ain't it. Now, you can make your arguments about Terran and Terran economy and whether or not it's in line with the other races now that we've completely overhauled everything with 8 workers. But I cannot stress how unbelievably massive a change just 100 minerals off the command center is. And that means the orbital command is now 100 minerals discount. Because the orbital is still the same price. So Gideon Orbital Command is easier. And now an important point, the Command Center provides 13 supplies. Liquipedia hasn't been updated. It's 13 now, not 15. That's about 1.5 supply depots, which makes Command Centers a significantly better source of supply. It's still not cheaper than a supply depot per cost, but it's a lot closer. And of course, you have the energy to drop supply if you want to do that. So, it does seem like it's contributed to Clem just sitting back, building up, sending out a Raven, losing said Raven, nevermore! Said hero metaphorically with the Stalkers, as of course Protoss don't have mouths. Now, on the other side, we're kind of toying with the idea, like, how much percents would it take for gateway production speed to be worth using over Warp Gate? It does seem like Hero is actually trying to factor that in. Since the Zealot now builds in like 13 or 14 seconds, for reference, a Marine takes 18. The amount of gateways you need, effectively you have reactor gateways after Warp Gate is done. The reason is not just a straight buff is because then you could proxy gate. Wouldn't it be crazy if we just cut the cost of the gate by 100? But, so, does that give Protoss, and the Colossus having more base damage does make it better against Marauders and Siege Tanks. I don't know the exact math on how many hits to kill. The thing is, you're never sitting there with a Colossus fighting against Marauders unless you're playing Direct Strike, and even then I think that's a bad call. So just having any amount more damage makes it more likely other units will help to kill. So even if it doesn't change the exact number, that's certainly a buff. It's also a buff against Roaches and Banelings, because Banelings, much like your mother, not a light unit, okay? So many people get that, and Ghosts up until a couple patches ago were not a light unit. But they are now. Though they do have more range, more damage. They're back to 2 supply. Snipe cannot be interrupted. But otherwise, they were nerfed. They have 100 HP in their light now. We'll see if that factors in. But wow, Hero with a lot of charge lots, charging right in and charging right back out again. His Clem has way too much. Clem actually has a similar amount of workers to Hero, who went for the quicker 3 base. Looks like there was a Widowmine drop that killed one unlucky probe. And Clem is looking to chase down the army. So it certainly makes Terran more competitive in just sitting back. Now, recently, Protoss has kind of tried to take advantage of this by mass expanding, by acting like a Zerg would hope to, and taking as much of the map as possible. But it does seem like, despite Hero's attempts to do that, I don't know where that Stalker was going, came back from Narnia for a moment. Clem is right there with him. 4 Vikings at a time now. Did he see the Colossus Den, or is he just anticipating it? Well, probably the second thing. It's pretty obvious. And Vikings are quite good against everything, but maybe Mass High Templar. And there's a Colossus. Blinks forward, misses a volley. And the charge slot's just getting shaved away. The extended thermal lance is done, and that makes 2 of us now, as 2 more robos on the way. The weapons of mass production coming online. Hero still building out of gateways in the main. He only has 5 of them, but clearly that's enough to keep up on production and keep those minerals low. And also conveniently allow me to actually tell what he's building as a commentator instead of waiting for occasional warp-ins. Though, is that worth it? I don't know. Making my life easier? We do this not because it is easy, but because it is hard. Okay, coming up a new clickbait every day. The factory, its work ended, sent off for a quick retirement upstate, which is surprisingly similar to the unit's lost 10. Will be taken down. Clem, looking to close in on the army. The Observer will spot all this, and that's a lot of Terran right there. Hero, more gates on the way. Plus 2 ground weapons and armor in production. Same with Clem, but chrono boost and timing mean that Hero will have an advantage of about a minute, maybe even more, on those upgrades. Will it be enough to surmount the army composition? We'll see. Warp Prism headed in towards the main. Colossi and Charge Lots pushing forward, a little distracted by the command center. Drops out the Zealots. Reinforcements coming back to deal with it. Vikings split off. Command center knocked down, but that's just 300 minerals. And now Clem chasing down the Colossi. The Stalkers picking off the Vikings, but I don't know if the Vikings are even the most dangerous. The sheer girth of this bio ball is too much to contend with, and Clem just rolls it over. He cleans up the charge lots in the main. He knocks down the Warp Prism, and while Hero may have gotten a 300 mineral command center, was it worth 5,400 minerals of charge lots, Colossi, and Stalkers, and 1,300 gas? I think not. And now Clem gonna carry it forward. It wasn't so decisive a victory that he can attack directly in, but he can certainly shave away the edges. And no cancel. Hero fully committed. Still building out of gates. I think partially is. Look how fast they build. That's not chrono boosted. Like, oh my. But they're still just charge lots. And there's a point where the biomass is so large that they simply can't get the surface area they need. The Marines and Marauders firing within the ball of Marines and Marauders all somehow are targeting the same Zealots, whereas the Zealots cannot do the same. As melee units, yes, the most common Protoss warrior is going to run it up. Let me hit him with my sword. A double drop is split off. Hero recalls to the main. Colossi going to step up the Reaper Cliff. Well, I guess I will generously call it the Colossus Cliff. Actually working for him there. Gonna drop out again and clearly swinging around the left side. Hero with just a few more workers, but his army supply is disjointed to say the least. Trickling out of the base, the mass gateway. He does have to walk all the way out. Well, charge lots are more of a brisk jog. But I digress. The medevacs, the two medevacs, overworked, underpaid, as they're completely out of energy. The Vials in Autumn Colors, the emotional support field actually helps Clem more than anything. I guess Clem is the one who definitely needs emotional support more often, which is why command centers are 300 mineral. The charge lots, wave upon wave, trying to charge forward, but again, met with the near entirety of the Terran army. Clem is maxed out. Both sides 2-2 upgrades. Again, Hero's going to have the advantage on 3-3. But how do you... He's trying to play that war of attrition. Clem's been on 3 bases. He got knocked back to 3 bases multiple times now. He needs to take a 4th soon. And that's going to have to be the anvil that the hammer drops on, with the Terran army in between. And if he doesn't get it done soon, well, here we go. The charge lots of Widowmine splashes across. Command center takes a few volleys from the Stalkers. Heroes expanding almost literally everywhere else on the map. The Colossi easily distracted by the command center. +3 attack is about to complete, and that's probably going to be the best possible timing for Hero. He's opened up the warp gates now, and is just using them to refill at the front. Which, a third, he hallucinates a Colossus, which is a curious choice. And now here comes Clem, looking to defend. The planetary fortress is distracting the Colossi. The hallucination eats a volley. The planetary may fall. The Colossi will as well. The Immortals caught in front. The charge lots have evaporated. And Clem is just tearing through everything. Again, Hero destroys the base. And again, he loses the battle decisively. The Disruptor is spotted with a forward scan. Clem has not 1, not 2, but 3 more command centers in production. It is that 300 mineral command center worth the loss of 5,000 minerals in your army in the last 30 seconds. That battle lasted longer than, well, most people in the chat, but barely. And infantry weapons, level 2, level 3, rather. Parts of the Red Sea. Another shot. 0 for 2. Shack at the free throw line. Meanwhile, a drop baits out a recall. Hero sending a uncomfortably large amount of supply to deal with 1 medevac, and now the recall's on cooldown. The only saving grace here may be the lack of medevac energy, but Caduceus Reactor just finished on the fusion core, which means he has double the medevac energy regen, and he can keep these units probably topped up right up until a Disruptor slams him in the face. Now building 4 Liberators at a time. Clem, Disruptors quite hard countered by Liberators, as completely unable to deal with air. The Stalkers will have to cover for them. And barely any Stalkers remain. Widowmine slams home. Clem split on either side, trying to zone out with the Raptors. Clips a couple Marines. But Hero keeps trying to drive in and force a wedge somewhere between Clem's armies, but the Disruptors can only fire so many directions at once. He keeps splitting back. The Charge Lots chase him down. Another Disruptor shot. Kills Zealots and Marines alike. Sieges up the Liberator. Another double shot. Clem avoids the vast majority of it. The Disruptors on cooldown. The Charge Lots have swung around. Clem consolidates his forces. Some of them getting distracted by the orbital command yet again. Clem dropping mules mid-fight, which is both BM and effective at the same time. Wow, another Disruptor shot pops it. And the most dangerous force field is the best you can say for him. As Clem, not only does he establish the base, but he completely drives back the army. A Liberator covering, a double drop sent out, recall still about 30 seconds away. Hero at 82 probes, he's maxed out, but he just can't seem to get anything done. Clem building ghosts now, and he still has enough supply to fit a few more in, especially at 2 supply apiece. Gives you more supply to fill in anything else. Or more ghosts, that also works. EMPs the probes, and they'll just simply evaporate. Hero trying to move forward, but a Venn diagram of freedom. And suddenly, well, he's continuing to go. The Liberators are holding the line. The Sentries popped easily. The Stalkers and Colossi being distracted. Meanwhile, Clem doing terrible, terrible damage on the other side. Hero driven back, but between 2 command centers is not where he wants to be. There's 1 Stalker remaining. That's simply not enough. He's gonna warp it. He warps it. Zealots, Hero, what are you doing? Oh no. The army's just evaporating. The Venn diagram of freedom, covering almost everything. He takes out 1 base, make that 2. 19 probes dead, 18 SCVs, but there's plenty of command centers where that came from. Nexi cannot fly very fast. He scans the army. Hero getting desperate. A Warpin! And Artosis pylon! Oh no, he cancels the whole Warpin! It's just a warp what? It's a warp prism! The double Artosis! The Artusis! 27 probes dead, and it's a disaster! Oh no! Hero has gone from near 200 supply to half that in seconds, and he's not done. Some Zealots to the north, but the Colossi will be knocked down yet again, and the Terran army is looking way too strong. As Clem just everywhere, and Hero, despite having all of the bases, is unable to find a solid foundation to beat him. And what's left? Like, Hero just loses everything. Clem baited out the Warpin. So when a Warpin is canceled, you get it back. You get the money, you get the Warpin back. It's just it doesn't go through. It's like the network connection was interrupted. But there's just not enough. The Colossi certainly not melting through the Marauders as much as they needed to. And GG. Clem? It wasn't a decisive mid-game victory, but at no point did it seem like Clem was under serious threat. A command center first. I don't know, like, at least he built it on the high ground. If he had built it on the low ground and gotten away with it, well, game 2. We're going to roller shot. Hero really leaning on that gateway production. Again, to refresh. Oh, by the way, the bug, the hotkey that was breaking, you might have seen a bunch. I intentionally didn't make any videos or like any content surrounding that besides the streams, which you can watch on Winter Gaming TV, my second YouTube channel where I stream at great length and do a lot of in-depth commentary. Now, it might be have an emotional undertone, but I actually played the game. So, and I've already played a decent amount of this new hotfix patch. And so, at first, like I said, my reaction to the 300 Mineral Command Center was I think we're far enough in the video. It was very simply, straight up, out loud, what the fuck? Okay. But now that I've played it, and now that I've seen, like, some games, especially, like, playing against Zerg, it's even worse than that. It is clearly way too much. There are way more levers you can pull besides making every command center 100 minerals less. What is the style that I would like to think most people dislike? It's Terran sitting on 3, 4 bases, being infinitely cost-effective to the point that no one can kill them, and having constant near map hacks with scan and a lack of need for workers because of mules. So what have we done? We make Ghost less supply, we buffed Widow Mines, and we made command centers cheaper? See, I was just avoiding getting demonetized again. Like, Winter, well, maybe Terran needs buffs. This is how I feel every time. It's like we're doing a hostage negotiation. We're trying to playing some hardball here. Well, there's one unit, I think, that actually has been neglected woefully. It is the Hellbat. The Hellbat has not gotten any patch changes except a single nerf to its damage against light with its upgrade. Fun fact, this patch makes the 11th change to the Widow Mine, which fits the 11 years of Legacy of the Void. That's Legacy of the Void only. The Cyclone has been changed 16 times. The Ghost is at like 9 or 10. The Hellbat, 1. The Marine, none. The Reaper, a couple. Mostly with beyond getting it nerfed. You know what I want? Besides Reapers to all die. But if we're not going to do that, well, at least that's good. Give them back their building grenades. Like Tech Lab upgrade. Requires fusion core. Okay, maybe not. I think Reapers would be a cool unit to see in the late game. Hellbats as well. I think Hellbats should have 1, unnerfed damage. And they should benefit more from armor. Or remove the light tag, so they're less hard countered by Colossi and Banelings. I think Hellbats are more fun visually and to play with and against than hoping a Widow Mine hit just wins the game for you or not. Because Terran does need to fill that role, to be fair. That role of dealing with swarms of mid-game units, whether they be Zerglings or Zealotlings. Not everyone can be Clem microing 3 places at once. That is a real pain point as Terran. Like the threat of a warp prism at all times. And that is why most Terrans prefer to just turtle. Because if you can get to 200 supply, as we just saw, it is very hard for Protoss to realistically deal with the army cost-effectively. Sometimes ever. Whereas, oh, come on. Oh, the clone who lived. The SCVs, giving it a group hug. There goes my hero. Getting a full SCV treatment there. Full service. You know what I mean? Is Hero gonna do the Adept? Well, he's doing Adept Glaives. Does Hero know that the changes only benefit upgrades? I'm not sure. But Clem, he's just kind of killing all of his units right now, so. Clem did not go Command Center first. He went for a much more typical 1-1-1 sort of build. Barracks Factory Starport, a Destiny Cloud Fist build. I think Hero forgot that the Adept damage modifier, the only buff to the Adept was with upgrades. To where it does, each attack upgrade gains 1 more damage with 1 more bonus. Which I think allows you to 2-shot Marines after they stim. Or if they don't have combat shield. Which is... And if they don't have... Now, Hero's certainly going to test it for us. Which, kind of him. He's just pumping them out of gateways, and they build very quick. Will it be enough? Will Clem scout it? So the counter to Adepts is similar to the counter to the Charge Lots. it's good SimCity. Good positioning, good SimCity. Setting up your buildings in a way that makes it incredibly difficult to attack in effectively. Because Adepts are also very range challenged. Much like the charge lots, obviously. So, Clem, he's got his third command center on the way. If he gets caught on the open field, he will be slaughtered. That's kind of unrelated to whether or not the Adept was buffed. That was still true yesterday, and is still true today. Same with charge lot. Oh, he knows. He just saw the third base timing. He's retreating up the ramp. He's expecting charge lots or maybe Adepts. But he's he is... Yep. But does he? Is it in time? Here come the Adepts. +1 is not done. The tanks will siege on the high ground. Some auto turrets, but he's getting no benefit right now. He does have Adept Glaives. But Clem simply scouted he didn't have a third. Well, the ramp... Okay. So Hero didn't go for +1. If he had gone for +1 at a decent timing, I don't know if that would have made the difference. Because look at the worker count. Hero cut workers to make this happen. It's not happening. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know if this was the best attempt, but it's certainly... Yeah, it ain't it. Maybe if it was all timed out perfectly. But Clem, honestly, was very late in scouting for the third. And the moment, this loses value every second. Oh no. Because the more time you have to prepare as Terran, the worse it gets. Unless you've already done critical economic damage. Yeah, this is not going to happen. Okay. See if he gives it a shot. There's tanks on it. He knows the tanks are still there. He didn't kill the tanks. Adepts do mediocre damage to non-light units, even with the upgrades. He's just continually rubbing his ethereal nose there. Now, Adepts also do not hit air, which is another weakness they share with charge loss. I think the key point I keep coming back to is that they cost gas. So it might not be a lot, but any amount of gas is part of why Adepts are not preferred. Because anything that slows down your splash damage... Oh, Blink isn't done. Also slows down Blink, obviously, if you go for Glaives. He's trying to make Blink Stalker Adept a thing. It's not going to be a thing. Alright? It... +1 damage on an upgrade is not going to change the equation here. Hero's going to try to do some very hero-like stuff, but... Key point, Clem is... The only damage he's done to Hero during all this was the Reaper getting a kill. Maybe 2. I'm not sure if it was 2. So, Hero's been sitting on 3 base, but look at Clem's supply. 13 Adepts for a smattering of Marine. The Widow Mine's also spread out. He spots the hidden base. He's really giving it a try here. So, I don't know how much money is on the line in the show match. If I know Wardy, it was probably a similar prize for winning and losing. Though, more for winning. So, incentive to still play well, but also incentive to try things. The scan. Hero, unfortunate. So, there's another benefit of Warp Gate, is you backload your costs. You don't have to make a down payment on a unit. Instead, you can pay it off the moment you need it. That is part of why, no matter how much you speed up gateway production, that's still going to be true. Like, you can finish a pylon and immediately warp in. I can't... Imagine I'm snapping. But, when you build like a Terran, that's simply not possible. Terran's over. Oh, good, finally. Well, here come the Adepts, but the Widow Minefield just completely decimates them. The auto turrets. This does look good. He's got some Immortals. That's not a real... This is working. Oh, wait. But wait, there's more. And that's not a real Colossus. Yeah. Okay. That was half of Clem's army against all of Hero's. Hero's got a lot more, but for once, the supply tells the story somewhat inaccurately. Because Hero's got all of that in production in his main. So it has to walk out like any other Terran. Disgusting, I know. And now, as the medevacs continue to heal, gonna depower the pylon. And yeah. Well, remember, we're kind of... even throws a grenade. Okay, all right. Okay, Clem. So I do think this change is definitely more tuned for Protoss versus Zerg. So my humble opinion on the Protoss changes, they're actually pretty good. I like them. I like the style of changes. I like the targeting of them. At least, in my opinion, because there's no actual explanation. The changes to damage with upgrades and how they scale / base damage and general production. One, encourages you to use those units that aren't necessarily late game and gives Protoss more options that aren't sitting in their base building splash damage. I know Colossus are splash damage, but they barely count. So, I do want to say, I like that we got a second hotfix. I like the Protoss changes. The Terran changes feel like they were, I don't like them. Game 3. And that's the issue. That's the issue we're going to keep running into. If you haven't watched Zombie Grub's video on the... I know I talked about it before. If Jimmy, put a link in the description. Zombie Grub, the caster, has a YouTube channel you should check out. But she put together essentially a compilation of all the information when we were debating the worker start. 11 years ago, going to Legacy of the Void. A lot of very, very accomplished and smart nerds, StarCraft 2 fans, did a lot of math and a lot of research and a lot of analysis about the changes from a 6-worker to a 12-worker start and how the economy in StarCraft 2 works. So, you can't just change the worker count and make things... There's only one change so far that I think has meaningfully affected the trajectory of the game, especially past the early game. It is the changing of gas per base from 4,500 to 4,000. It used to be 2,250 per gas geyser, and now it is 2,000, which is a reduction of over 10%. Now, I would give more credit to the intern if the first change wasn't increasing it from 2,250 to 2,500. Then, we swung all the way in the other direction, down to 2,000, which I'm glad we did, because I'll tell you as someone, if you've watched the stream, you know I play a lot. As every race, I just can't seem to end the game. I want to play mid-game. I'm not good enough. I'm no Clem. I'm no Cyril. But I want to play that mid-game style, and I'm good enough to get there, but I can't end it. So I play a lot of games that go 20 minutes plus. You can feel it. Having 500 less gas per base actually affects how the mid to late game plays out. And in my opinion, in a good way. It forces you to keep expanding as every race. And put a little more value on your gas units. Especially as Terran and Protoss. Because they expand a little more slowly. Or... well, ostensibly, though I'm not sure with 300 mineral command centers. Anyways, so that, if you watch Zombie Grub's video, ties into the fact that the reason the StarCraft 2 feels so stale economically, yes, we're going to watch this dance of the Zealot. Like, the Zealot's just going to play. He can see it with the Watchtower. Whatever. It's because you can max out pretty reliably almost every game. Like, expanding to when you have a certain amount of workers, like 60 workers, expanding to a 4th base does not give you significantly more income than just having a 3rd. This is not true in Brood War, where your workers feel like they never finished kindergarten and will trip over each other trying to mine the same mineral batch. Very simply, in StarCraft 2, both your army and your workers are too smart. It's too easy to control them. And this is why we can't just plug in Brood War numbers or mechanics and expect it to be a strategic genius or variety. Because in Brood War, you have to get multiple wrist surgeries to fix your broken wrists at the age of 19 to continue sending your SCVs to mine. Or so it seems. Sorry, Flash. Because your workers are so dumb, they won't go to the mineral patch on their own. Your units can only be controlled 12 at a time. The equivalents are just not there. SC2, the game is too good for its own good, it seems. But you know what also was good? Wait, he doesn't have concussive shell for the Marauders, which is a mistake? Clem going for a early Marauder cheese? Well, it's definitely a cheese because who does this? He's just showing up. The Adepts? A probe getting involved? I don't know if concussive shells would have helped. Oh, this is happening. And he finished Warp Gate. He's just going to walk in with 3 Stalkers. Be nice to have those Marauders at home. Alright, things getting more dramatic here. That's enough about the economy, because both players are going to be suffering. Clem has a triple Rax for the first time, leaving him very vulnerable to the Stalkers. Did he forget concussive? Well, now things are getting more dramatic as that pylon. A wave of Adept Shades in. Hero has nothing but gateways. The warp gate's back at home, and you can just warp in at full speed from a pylon now. Hero using that to great effect. And Clem, well, he finishes the bunker and has to retreat to the main. So, because he doesn't have a factory nor a starport, there's no easy way to break out. In fact, Hero could warp in a sentry to potentially force field the ramp. He's just walking across with the Marauders now. Hero knows they're still out there somewhere, but he has nothing back at home, so he may actually be able to kill several probes. This becoming quite a dramatic game. The Stalker. Kiting back, the citizen's arrest. The probe's bloodthirsty. He's using the shade for vision to the high ground to harass the depot. Hero's taking a third base, where Clem now has 34 workers, but he's stuck on one. But he gets down the ramp. I think he was slightly afraid of a force field, but it's not going to happen. Stim is now done. Still no concussive shells for Clem, which feels negligent at this point, to be honest. There's no way he didn't notice it either. He would have started it immediately if he had. I think he was upgrading Stim, but well, here we go. The lack of concussive shells is actually a big issue now. The inability to tag those Stalkers or slow down the Adepts. But he's still just going to stim his way through, slaughtering the Stalkers all in his path. And now it's Clem's turn with the SCVs. How the turntables have turned. And Clem's SCVs chasing the Adept. The Adept actually will make it into the main. No! Cancels. But wait, there's more! The Adept shade in again. And since Clem went for the multi-Rex and the very late starport, there's not much he can do. He's got to sit back at home and build up, because with just Marines and Marauders, every stim is permanent damage. He risks way too much on a potential counterattack. There's the concussive. Better late than never, very much. Shuts the door in the Adept's metaphorical faces. Loading up just one medevac, didn't quite have the other one completed. He's hunting for Adepts. May just end up going across the map. Armor upgrade. Hero focused on the mass charge lot. He unwarped? No, he's rewarping his gateways. So clearly, using Warp Gate to its fullest here, with the ability to warp in off proxy pylons at full speed. The medevac was spotted, but unfortunately, Clem spots the Stalkers first. The Adepts get into the main, decides not to commit. And that army is not, that's not enough. He's got some force fields, but what are you going to do with them? I guess there's that. He locks some of them in, just picks them up, and now the force fields are working against Hero. The drop just stimming through. Gonna slaughter some more probes. There's no anti-air that he just warped in. Kills a few more probes. Slurps up the Marines. The Adepts actually completed the Shade. Hero will have the armor. And Clem is just now... Oh my. Clem is just now getting his +1 infantry weapons. It's been a hectic early game since the 3-gate versus 3 racks here. And he flies right into the warp. And unfortunately, Holy Terra couldn't save him. The force field's optimistic yet again. I feel like against Terran, you should just unhotkey the force field key. Because, yeah. I can't remember the last time I saw force fields that felt like they were worth the energy used. Sometimes they actively backfire. More times they just do nothing. Occasionally, maybe to trap in like SCVs. He's gonna go for the orbital command. The Stalkers, he splits. +2 armor is now done. There we go. There's a few he picks up. Well, and there we are again. And Clem just fighting on the other side because he knows this is probably a better position for him. All right, I'm declaring it. Force field should be disabled against Terran. That would be a buff to Protoss, in my opinion. Could he spot the Widowmine? Not in time. Clem, the accidental pickup. But the charge lots, there's not even enough energy for those force fields at this point. No Guardian Shield either. Clem does not have an armory, so that is the only saving grace for Hero, is he's not going to be able to overtake him in upgrades. There we go. I mean, kind of. He can't attack it with the charge lots because the force fields are in the way now. Another Widowmine, stimming back. And, well, the sentry's getting distracted. The boys are pulled. More Widowmines. Hero, half his army. Another wave of charge lots. Again, the armor upgrade's doing work, but the Widowmines don't really care because they're spell damage, technically. He just has so much production. Or it seems like it, and then you look at the supply and realize he does not have that much production. Oh, there's a pylon right there, which he's using to great effect. He's about to have +1, which will give him a 2-upgrade advantage for a time. The Widowmines will burrow yet again, and oh my... Another wave obliterated by the mines. Clem now building Liberators as well. Hero has 4 bases, but not too many more workers. And with mules, that means Clem has the advantage. And this is kind of the scenario I was talking about with that economic breakdown. Is having more workers up to a certain point does not give you an advantage over having more expansions. Or even if you have more expansions. Thus, de-incentivizing the need to expand, except like as somewhere to eventually send workers to, as opposed to immediate economic impact. Once you get past about 70 workers, there will be a benefit. Because it's about 22 per base, max saturation. Or effective saturation. But Clem now mining out the gas geysers. Definitely not lasting quite as long. It's about another minute, maybe a minute and a half. It's about a minute and a half that you won't be mining as much gas. A little bit closer to the same time you mine out of the minerals with the gas now. But still, does last longer. The Widowmines, Hero with the Colossus. He does have the upgrade advantage. He's about to have a 2-upgrade advantage. He has the patience for it, though Clem just started his +2. There's the Guardian Shield. The Colossus hitting the orbital command. And again, Clem is able to pick a very solid fight. Though, there are proxy pylons everywhere. Hero, instead of using gateway production, he's decided to use the other end of Warp Gate, which is the, once again, speedy warp-ins from the pylons. Hero out in front, +2 ground weapon is about to complete, which is actually going to be huge with the Colossi towering overhead. 3 Vikings at a time. But Hero now 80 probes. The gold base is spotted by Clem as well. Hero acting like he has 200 supply. Of course, we know he doesn't, but Clem can't. Clem probably content to wait until his upgrade's complete. He knows, I'm sure, that Hero has them now. But again, can Hero break him? As 85 probes doesn't leave you a ton of army supply to deal with. Clem's at 131 army supply. Splitting off parts to deal with. They're just pylons everywhere. But, again, the main army's spotted. There's observers seeing most of this. +2 infantry, weapons, and armor closing in. Hero knows the map is dark and full of Terrans. He sees the vast majority of it. He sees the entire army. The Liberators, 5 command centers on the way. More CCs than a angry email chain that the intern has to answer to after everyone but Terran players is upset about this patch. So no one that matters. But, well, 2-2 done. This is, the upgrades are even, but Hero did manage to max out now. He's got the Warp Prism to potentially save the Colossi. Ghost being added in. Hero trying to, well, the scans. It's not like the scans are going to become less common with another 5 potential orbital commands. Clem sitting behind his lines here. The command center drawing a lot of fire. Actually, the command center's existing has been really a defining characteristic of these fights. Either the Colossi are distracted by the command centers or not. But the Warp Prism does get into the main. Clem, the Colossi distracted though. And he just continues warping in round after round. And, well, Clem has to bring a ton of his forces back to defend because now there are 20 charge lots in the main base. The Vikings will obliterate an observer. The add-on's getting uninstalled. And, well, Hero dancing on the door. The Warp Prism should be... Well, he has Warp Prism speed. 3-3 upgrades. He didn't quite focus it down. Clem now thinking about a 5th base. Hero is on 8. There's 7 orbital commands. Honestly, Clem probably has too many SCVs at this point. Those Colossi incinerating the bio. Clearly doing quite well. The Warp Prism's back. The greatest threat. He's going to target it. Cancels some of the warping. The Vikings, 1 Colossus down. The pylon reinforcing. Clem. The Vikings kiting back. Another Colossus toppled. And, well, a disruptor in the mix. Clem spots it. 3 Colossi at a time. Fires the disruptor shot. Actually using the disruptor against Hero, knowing that he can't blink into it. Not without disastrous results. Clem splits off some bio. Those Colossi are not long for this world. Fires off another shot. Down goes another one. There's still the disruptor. Down go both. EMP on the Zealots. 3-3 is done mid-fight. Liberator holding the line. Vikings hit the deck. Disruptor's finally getting involved. But a lot of the gateway units will go down before him, but he fires off the shot. Will hit landed Vikings mostly. Another wave is coming in. Hero's at 16 gates, and he's using them to the greatest effect. The rest of the army's coming in. And the disruptors have not yet recharged. And they may never. He fires off the shot. He gets past it. Mediocre hit. Clem replacing those SCVs with the mule income. And over to the right side. Hero knows about this base. But what is he going to do about it? Clem knows the pylon is there, but nobody's been able to get involved. The main base is mined out mostly of gas. Clem is at 10 orbital commands, which is totally not the inevitable outcome of reducing the command center cost. More EMPs. The Viking count was mostly reset, so the refill on Colossi might be enough, especially since Marauders are less effective against them. Well, they're not less effective, it's just Colossi are better against Marauders. It's more accurate, I guess. And Hero. Has Clem finally been bled? That is 6 Colossi against 7 Vikings. Enough to easily incinerate. Oh, but the EMP hits every Colossus. Stutter stepping the Vikings, knocking down the Colossus with each one, but they're still chasing forward. Ghost being incinerated. And another EMP. Well, a lot of the bio is dying, but I think Clem, well, the Disruptor shot. Okay. But another wave. Hero, and that's it. And Hero, Clem taps out with more supply. Hero could keep doing this for a while yet. He has the rest of the map. And Clem was finally bleeding out. He mined out of 3. So finally, after mining out of 2-3 bases, Clem is forced to tap out. I do think it was trending that direction for sure. But yeah, maybe 11 orbital commands was a bit much. Could have stopped at 7 or 8. I don't know. Well, Hero is on the board. Though not exactly sure. And after that rambunctious start, where it felt like Clem was contained, the Marauders, I think he, like, I have no idea why he didn't get... Oh, Clem does it too. So, before the 8-worker start, for 11 years, we have sent out the first SCV to make a supply depot. Okay? Now, you don't. But I find myself doing it. I'm sure Clem, who probably has 5 times as many games, he rallied his first SCV to the supply depot. It got about a third of the way there, and then he realized, oh, wait a second. 11 years of muscle memory. And the worst part is it's not relearning, it's adjusting. Like, it's learning to play off-key as opposed to a new song. And that is... And this is a main criticism from the Korean community, which is mostly just a couple dozen pro players. But how builds just don't fit. Like, that things don't fit together nearly as smoothly. It's not just because of the economy, but because of the timings. Like, you have to cut SCVs, potentially, if you want to get a Reaper at the optimal barracks timing. Or you just build them. Like, things don't fit together very well anymore. And how much of that is just a skill issue, and how much of that is because the game was designed with a full-time development team over the course of a year, with the switch between 6 and 12 workers being tested by hundreds of thousands of people to work out a whole lot of details that we're now dismantling piece by piece in some twisted way to appeal to people who weren't going to play the game anyways, but now pretend like they know what they're talking about. I don't know. It's impossible to put a number on it. Well, we'll see. Now, if we're going to get these hot fixes, very hot, scorching, every few weeks, then you know what? All right, let's go crazy. Make Queens fly again at Hive Tech. Bring back the Planet Cracker on the mothership. And the Vortex. Like, let Disruptors build up multiple Purification Novas and fire them all off at once. Make Ghosts one supply. Now, of all those, which one do you think would go through? This time he's getting... He's doing the same thing, but he's getting concussive. That had to be a mistake. Like, that entire game was based off a mistake. I'm sure plenty out there can empathize, but... Without concussive shells, it kind of defeats much of the purpose of the early Marauder. Later on, it's not that important, but when you're just building Marauders and you can't reliably kite units, it's just not good. Like, it's important. He's gonna do a 3 racks again. I think Clem wants a do-over, is what's happening here. He's like, I could have done that better. All right. He's gonna do the early. He wants to test out the early bio. Hero is going for the 2-gate before any tech. Because he already saw the Marauder with the probe. Which is kind of a huge deal. So, energy recharge is available, but he doesn't have the energy for it. Oh, here we are. He can tag. He tags the sentry. There's a force field that, again, works against him because the probes are taking longer to actually do damage. Remove force field. That would actually be the buff. A Guardian Shield is one of the best abilities in the game. Reduces all range damage within the bubble by 2. Hallucination also can be very good. Force field. Thing is, nobody has really loved. It's Force field is one of those abilities that 1, we gave counters to, and 2, the better people got at the game, the less it became relevant. As instead of walking into sentries, you're just not going to do that. You're just not going to find players who do that. It just doesn't happen. At this level, obviously. Why are you here? Hero walks up, gets immediately tagged and bagged. He's lucky there weren't more Marauders. Honestly, kind of crazy he decided to walk across with the Stalkers. He may have been trying to call a bluff. Like, maybe he only went for 1 racks Marauders. Nope, 3 racks. So there's plenty. He went 3 racks, not 3 racks Marauder, to be clear. By the way, this is serving as my patch video. Okay. I'm not gonna be doing videos for every issue, every bug. Because, again, I don't know if I talked about this. I forget if I did or if that was just on stream. Things like the medevac bug, which we solved again by just removing the button. The ability to load multiple tanks. I will say that bug was in the game until we realized you could use it on overlords. There was one day where we learned that you could put Hydralisks and overlords and they could shoot out of them. And guess which day the hotfix was? The next one. Just saying. Rest in peace, his overlisks. But yeah, I don't want to make videos drawing attention to every little thing. Because many of them will be fixed. Or changed. And it's honestly exhausting to keep up with, and I play this game / cast for a living. So, because there's no direction. There's no, like, overarching goal. We're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And the problem when you throw shit at a wall and see what sticks is at the end, for the people sticking around, it still smells like shit. Like and subscribe for more profound commentary. Who's surrounding who? Well, the Blink Stalkers try to dive in, but the Marines and Marauders are easily breaking out. Clem baiting him in masterfully. Hero. With that Stalkers on, what is this? This looks like a campaign mission. Just be set on all sides. Stalkers just walk. They build so fast. Like, what am I watching? So this is a vision blocker here. And it's not just because he's blinking so fast that he can't see. But instead, now this 13 Stalkers dead is certainly not an ideal trade. He's able to pump so many out of the gateways. But they're trickling across when he needs a flood. A single drop, a couple Widowmines. Marauder, knocked out. And if he can find a coherent path to actually fight the bio army like this, that's when it gets really dicey for Clem. But if you're just firing all across the board and you're unable to target fire the Marauders, obviously those Stalkers fall apart quickly. They need to be focused. And Hero doing a good job of buying time, but Clem scanned the third base and saw the probe count, so he's headed across. He does have a third command center, of course. I say of course, because before it would be unlikely not to, and now with 300 minerals, well, he's waiting for his moment. The Widow Mine drop. And without warp gates, there's no warping in to defend. I think Hero does spot it. He recalls. That Widow Mine fires more quickly now. And down go 4 probes. And most importantly, he's now off the map. And oh no. Yep. Oh my. Oh, sweet mother of mercy. Well, 2 Widow Mines. 2 direct hits on the probes. And I fear that we're barreling down towards the inevitable 2Gs. Hero not quite adjusted to the new improved Widow Mine. Scouting Marauder headed across, jostling everyone. Speaking of mines, wait, the Widow Mine also can't see in the trees. This map is... Oh my. They're everywhere. And, wait, he has to actually go... He can only see them when he's right on... Oh my. Oh no. What a disaster. Another mine drop. Just the revolving door. He drops it out. And Hero pulls the probes. There is Blink. Is it in time? It should be. But that's the entire army. All the way back. So Clem's going to move forward. Clem's going to have 1-1 against 0-0. Which is... a disaster. I cannot stress how bad that fight will go for Hero if Clem gets anywhere close to taking a fair one. But these 2 charge lots are doing a great job of dragging the entire army back home. So that's something. But Protoss with an upgrade advantage can trade with the bio. With an upgrade disadvantage, that's just a massacre. So he stims, doesn't even respect the... Stalkers went the wrong way. Takes out the Observer. But wait, there's more Widow Mine drops. Comes in for another round. Hero will react. Wait, no, I take it back. Oh, another one. Oh, my. And he's going to pick it back up. This will drag the army. Another mine. And he's just going to go sit in the corner. Meanwhile, Clem, the 4th base. Hero just... 1-1 is done. Which means this fight will look a little closer. Again, that the pathing is just not working out for him. Yeah. Clem just ripping through him. And to be honest, aside from the Eternity's Edge game, where it wasn't so much that Hero won as Clem did not, as he finally ran out of minerals. There are a lot of other options besides giving Terran the biggest economic buff anyone has ever received in the history of StarCraft 2. Being able to get slightly more larvae that you can still pay for more quickly pales in comparison. Chrono Boost pales in comparison. 100 minerals off of your first base. I cannot stress how huge a deal that is. It does seem Hero might be stressing over it. Clem, a little less inclined. But thank you to Wardy for this quick demonstration, the moment. I think Wardy also realizes that maybe not the right direction. But, well, what do you think? Either way, thank you to Wardy. Thank you for watching. And if you got the means of motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. Thank you to our meal tier patrons, Big Jake, Devin Door, Kate, Mario, Crazy Mouse, Mario Suit. And y'all still enjoy. And, well, hope to see you next time. And I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.